God. Grant me serenity to accept the things I cannot change, courage to change the things that I can, and the wisdom to know the difference. Amen.
Today I can love George Britt. I hated myself at one time. I loathed myself. Because, you know, one of the therapies I use with the kids at the youth home is I tell them, I'm going to ask you this question. I want you to close your eyes for 10 seconds and think about it. Who in your life told you you were worthless? And that was me. I just come up in a home. I just felt like I was less than. I was inadequate. No confidence. My father, the alcohol had him, and things weren't given to me that I needed. I kept going, when am I going to be addicted? Because this was my thought process. Being a heroin addict's better than being nobody. Thank God that my mother would keep taking me home. That was the only person left. My wife had divorced me, and yeah, my mother would take me back in. Against the advice of family. An addict can't sustain an addiction without an enabler.
Once all means are exhausted, there's no job anymore, there's no loved ones support anymore or anything like that, typically it turns into a life of committing crimes to support their habit.
Well, the funds are depleted. I think my unemployment checks ran out, and then the criminal action started, the criminal behavior. I started shoplifting on a small scale. And when I realized that, wait a minute, I might be able to fund my addiction through this criminal behavior, I escalated it to the point where I was shoplifting every day. I was the kind of guy that would go drink my methadone down in Pittsburgh. They didn't even have clinics around Fayette County then. And I would realize I would drink the methadone, wait about an hour for it to work and get in my system. And then I used to even think, now what? This ain't enough. I need some adrenaline. I need something more than just to quell the desire for the opiate. And I realized then that this was more than a narcotic problem. I was an adrenaline junkie.
I totally believe that you can love someone to death. You think that you're loving them, you think that you're helping them, that you think that you're doing the right thing, and you truly genuinely feel that way. However, in reality, you're just slowly contributing to somebody's demise. If you constantly save someone from their consequences, then they never know what their consequences are.
People have said, wonder if you would have got clean and sober if your mother was still healthy and alive. And that's a good question, because I don't know. There was guilt. There was some guilt of the things I had done to her, but through a 12-step program, I had a way to work through the guilt of the things I'd done to her. Alcohol made it easier to smoke some weed. The weed made it easier to take some pills, and the pills eventually made it easier to eventually stick a syringe in my arm for heroin. More than the peer pressure was my fear of, if I say no and don't put the syringe in me, they'll reject me. I'm telling you, man, listen, the bottom line to this is this. You guys straighten up, work these steps, and clean house. Because the softest pill is a clear conscience. Make amends to people, find out your wrongs, and you can help a lot of other kids what you've been through. I stress to them that this isn't your fault, and things that to try to help them eradicate the guilt and shame, instead of gravitating to drugs and alcohol to get rid of the guilt and shame. As long as somebody would okay my behavior, that would can help me continue the addiction. An enabler. I deal with it all the time out here. They'll love us, but sometimes they'll love us to death.